Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Rogers, what percentage, any idea what percentage of the United States population lives in a sanctuary jurisdiction?
That's a good question. I don't have that numbers, but it's far too high. It should be zero.
Yeah, it should be zero, but it's like 31.5%. 18 cities, 11 states, 3 counties, and the District of Columbia. And because these are big blue cities, big blue states, again, almost a third of the population lives in a jurisdiction where, and correct me if I'm wrong, but where local left-wing political leaders tell local law enforcement not to work with federal law enforcement when it comes to enforcing federal law. Is that your understanding of sanctuary jurisdiction?
Correct, yeah.
And is that literally one of the dumbest things you've ever heard?
Yes, and it's against federal law as well because it's
no
a crime to
kidding.
shield
But in a third of the country that goes on. And last year alone, we just marked this bill up 2 weeks ago. Last year alone, 2025, 17,864 times, ICE would file a detainer with a local jail, local detention center, where there's a person who's in the country illegally and been charged with a crime, and ICE would send a detainer notice saying, hey, if you're gonna let this guy out, give us a call. And 17,864 times in 2025, local law enforcement, because left-wing politicians told them to, would not work with federal law enforcement and many times release these people to the streets. Again, I'd ask you, is that a crazy policy or what?
It's absolutely crazy, and it's totally counterproductive for everybody, illegal immigrants and legal immigrants who live in those communities.
And would you be surprised to learn that several of those people who were released then went out and caused harm, did some crime against some other American, or maybe some other migrant, who knows, but committed some crime after they've been released when they could have been turned over to federal law enforcement?
It's not surprising, it's totally predictable, and it's a tragedy for each of those people.
Totally predictable. Mr. Sines, would you say that's a good policy or a bad policy?
Which policy?
Policy, sanctuary jurisdiction.
It's a good policy.
It's a good policy to let 17,000 people out, potentially 17,000 people not on a detainer, and let some of those people released to the streets who had already been charged with the crime, and then they commit another crime, and you're saying that's a good policy?
That's your characterization of how that works out. It's an inaccurate
That is the
characterization.
facts.
No, I'm sorry.
A fiery congressional hearing turned into a dramatic showdown as Jim Jordan pressed witnesses over sanctuary cities, ICE detainers, illegal immigration, and taxpayer costs. The exchange became especially tense when one witness defended sanctuary jurisdiction policies, leading to a sharp back-and-forth over crime, federal law enforcement, and public safety. The hearing also focused on Plyler versus Doe, public school costs, and the impact of immigration policy on local communities. And then came the unexpected moment everyone is talking about, the debate over whether Thomas Paine should be considered an undocumented immigrant or a founding father.
64 times a detainer was not honored last year by local law enforcement when ICE issued a detainer.
Again, I have no idea, Congressman. I came here to talk about Plyler versus Doe, and I can absolutely guarantee you there has never been a detainer issued against a student enrolled in public education as a result of Plyler.
I'll get to the student
But the hearing is about Plyler. So I don't have an answer to your question about whether the data you have is accurate related to something completely unrelated.
Well, suspend. It is the gentleman's time to ask the questions. The witness can respond to the questions, but we're not going to talk over each other.
Mr. O'Brien, to get to Plyler, there's a cost associated with this, right? With this decision.
Yes, there is.
Significant. I mean, I think the court said way back in 1982, the number of illegal aliens in public schools was small, and there was, quote, no evidence in record suggesting that illegal entrants impose any significant burden on the state's economy. That was the ruling back in 82, but things have changed a little bit since then, haven't they?
They've changed drastically, and the estimated combined cost to the taxpayers, federal, state, and local, is somewhere in the neighborhood of $80 billion with a B.
And it was particularly exacerbated the previous 4 years in the last administration. Is that accurate?
Yes, by a significant margin.
8 to 10 million people coming into the country in a 4-year time frame. Many of those were students. I remember the Biden administration lost track of hundreds of thousands of those students. Is that right?
About 300,000, that's correct.
Yeah. So there's certainly a cost associated with that. That's what this hearing's about as well. Yeah. Let me ask one other question here, and then maybe I'll yield a few seconds to my good friend from Texas. Is Thomas Paine an undocumented immigrant or a founding father, Mr. Rogers? I'm just curious.
He's a founding father, he's not an undocumented immigrant.
Yeah. Mr. O'Brien?
He was a citizen of the UK who went to another territory of the UK, so it was like moving from Massachusetts to New Hampshire.
Yeah. Ms. Drogan, I just was curious if you thought he was an undocumented immigrant or a founding father.
He's a founding father.
And what about you, Mr. Sines? What are you going to say to that question?
I'd say the terms don't apply back when Tom Paine was alive. So it is true, he was undocumented. But
Oh,
that
is
really
it?
wasn't a category
Was
of
he-
any
was he a
concern
founding- was he a
in the
founding
18th
father?
century. He's both.
Come on,
a
it's
founding father.
come on, it's common sense, pun intended. Was he a founding father?
Of course he was.
All right. God bless you.
Please, don't forget to like, comment and hit the subscribers button for more political updates.